Welcome to Creatives in Quarantine. I'm Tiwana Floyd, your host. This week, I speak with multi-dimensional creative Chris Trovador. Chris is the epitome of living the life of an artist. Every aspect of his life is creative, hence his motto, all I do is art. I'm a fan of Chris's artistry since my introduction to him as the writer and director of the first Latinx ensemble at Second City Hollywood. Welcome, Chris. And so we know each other from Second City. You know, okay, my first introduction to you, like person to person, because you had a show going at the time. It wasn't Hispanic Attack. It was the one with, what was it?
Fresco Bar?
It was Fresco Bar. That was happening. And I think maybe I came to a matinee or something. Maybe it was during the LADCF, I can't remember, but there was a bunch of us downstairs and somebody offered you a cookie and you said, I don't eat those light-skinned cookies. It was a shortbread cookie. And I loved you for that because that's exactly what I called them. And I never heard anybody else.
I said that? Wow. I'm in shock.
Right then and there, I was like, that's my people.
Funny.
That's what I call them. I feel like they need to go back in the oven and cook a little bit more.
They do. But that's Second City not knowing any better.
Exactly, right. It was in the moment. It was just funny in the moment.
I'm like, I said that, really?
Hey, we was having a good time. It was a group of us just cracking jokes, and bits get heightened, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
So
they were giving free drinks and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was probably Lorna Doones or something. I don't know. Although I do like Lorna Doones. Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it was the Milano cookies. I don't know.
It's possible.
But yeah, so it's like over time I started to learn that you are more than just what I thought was a writer, and so I'll just let you tell it. What are you most known for creatively?
Man, this is gonna be a hard conversation. What am I? It depends. I think because everyone at Second City knows that I, direct and I'm a writer and I perform. But then other people know me as a tattoo artist. Like everyone back home knows me as just that.
Right. Yeah.
So it just depends, I guess, how you meet me. Yeah. Did I answer your question, sort of?
Yeah, because it's the same thing for me. It depends on what part of my life somebody met me that they would really know me mostly for. So It's really a hard question to ask, but I lead with it, and then I open it up to what else do you do? So writer, director, performer, improviser, tattoo artist. Am I leaving anything out?
I've been cutting hair since I was like 13, 14.
Right.
I'm a little shaggy right now, but I've been doing that. I graduated audio engineering school, I would say, when I was 17, 18. At the same time, I was finishing high school. So because I wanted to be a rapper and make beats, and that wasn't getting me no money. Right. So I became a tattoo artist.
Right.
And then from there, we don't need to get into, unless that's part of the question.
Yeah.
From there, that's how I became a tattoo artist. And then the tattoo shop that I started at, I had been doing rap shows, but there's a thing where it's like you can't really invite your family members to certain kind of rap shows in Florida specifically. Maybe one thing could be in New York if it's like the nice hip hop or whatnot, positive stuff. But in Florida, that doesn't.
It's hardcore.
It's not necessarily hardcore because there is an underground hip hop.
Yeah.
But it's more like trap. It's more. So no one showed up to my shows.
Okay.
And when the tattoo shop moved to downtown Orlando, it was literally one, there was a pizza spot right next to it, and then right there is an improv theater. And so I said, let me check this out. I'm always going to the gallery right next to it.
Right.
And then from there, I was like, yo, I could do that. I could definitely check that out. And then that's how I became an improviser. And I left rap sort of like on the back burner until...
Yeah, it never leaves.
Yeah. Until now that I can do it at Second City, and I do, use kitchen clothes, and we improvise and rap at the same time.
Right.
To answer your question, anything else that I do, playwright, painter is type of the artist, and then trying to think. I think that's about it.
For now, because other things could be unfolding.
Yeah. I guess you could put filmmaker, but I haven't done since I've been focused so much on comedy and stand up and everything so much. I've left filmmaking like on the side, just because it's hard to do everything at once. I usually get fed up with one thing. Ooh, I can't stand directing, so then I'll switch to being an actor, or that. Right.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of it all, is that we can still stay creative. We just choose what we want to focus on at the moment,
right? And
then keep moving. But in terms of so tattoo artist, is that natural? Did you go to school for that? How did you open a shop?
So once I graduated from audio engineering, I got evicted I got kicked out from a homeboy's house because his mom was like, if you can't pay rent, because I just got fired. So I was too prideful. I didn't want to go back to my mama's house. So I stayed. When she would go to work, I'd sleep in the car, but in her driveway. And then I used her internet. And so that's how I basically got on Craigslist and found Apprenticeship Wanted for tattoos. I put artist, and I had an interest in it, but when you are a person of color, certain tattoo shops ain't trying to deal with you. And that's how it is. I mean, let alone it's Florida. So I remember I went to a tattoo shop and I said, how do you get into it? Oh, well, we're going to charge you about $1,000 or so, and you won't start tattooing until about 2 years into it. And
wow.
Yeah. So I was like, I ain't trying to hear that. And this other spot, it was a family that had just moved from London to Florida. And he was a self-trained tattoo artist. His name was Danny Wells. They created a tattoo shop called Stigma. And they put out that ad. I came with my portfolio, and so did 2 other people. We all became apprentices, but I was the only one that lasted.
Oh, wow. And now I got to backtrack, because you said portfolio. So you were already kind of ready in a way.
Yeah. I had watched a lot of Miami Ink. And I was just drawing. And I had, portfolio, it was basically like a sketchbook of all the things that I did. And I've always had one, and I have multiple. And he just looked through them, and okay, sure, let's do it. So luckily I had a variety. Watching these shows and paying attention is like, okay, these people are doing dragons. Okay, this one's doing flowers. This one's doing, and I just try to combine it all.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. So this is in Florida, which is where you're from.
Yep.
Which part of Florida?
Orlando.
I don't think I've been to Orlando before. Miami, of course, everybody's from the East Coast. Right. From the East Coast, we always go to Miami. I think everybody does, but anyway.
Yeah, Orlando is how could I explain Orlando? Sort of like because what it is that it's gone through so much. Back in the day, there used to be a railroad that divided the whites and the blacks from one side to another. Right. And then a trickling of Hispanics. So growing up, I was raised in more predominantly Black community. Mm-hmm. But then me and my mom were usually, it's a confusing story because I've been all around Orlando. It's sort of like the size of maybe the Valley, if that makes sense. It's about the size of something like that.
The Valley's pretty
big. Still large.
Yeah, the Valley's pretty big.
Yeah, so it's like my mom was always transferring from jobs, so I moved many different places, and we were usually the only Hispanics or in Latinx in the community.
Right.
But then later on, once I started getting middle school, high school, they were everywhere. Yeah. So it kind of helped out. I didn't feel too much of an outcast, but at the same time, I guess culturally, I was an outcast because I didn't fit in with any specific kind of person. I was too Black to hang out with white kids,
Yeah.
or if I went to a white kid, they thought I was Mexican, or I was,
Right.
I was too white to hang out with black people, or if, it was always just something that I never was able to fit in.
Right.
People always saw me something as like something different.
That's your right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny because being from New York, we have the gamut. We have Dominicans, Cubans, Puerto Ricans, Colombians, and so not a whole lot of Mexicans, but there is a small community population there. But I was more immersed in the Caribbean side, and so I was working with this guy, this white guy from Texas, and he was talking about this girl walking by. He was like, "Oh, what's her name?" And I said, "Who?" Because there's a bunch of people. He's like, the Mexican girl. And I'm like, there's no Mexican girls over there. And he's like, oh, everybody's Mexican if they're Spanish. And that was the first time that I learned that. And then now moving to LA, I realized that's the same type of thought process here, unfortunately.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
There was a Caribbean influence in Orlando for sure. Like there's Haitians, Jamaicans. There was a plethora of that. So I definitely related to that. I went to a church that was Filipino, Haitian, and white predominantly. And then they had maybe a Spanish service, but a smaller amount of people. But when I came out here, everyone thought I was black immediately. And I was in the Valley. And it's like, no, I speak Spanish too. And they would just ignore and still speak to me in English.
Oh, wow. My homegirl came out. She's Dominican. Her and her husband came out for the first time. And we were at the beach and we were getting some food. And she was speaking to a woman in Spanish. And so she was learning. She was like, oh, the Spanish is different. And then she was explaining to me the difference. But we got off on a tangent. So I want to go back to, you said you were learning, was it high school or college, audio recording?
Yeah, audio engineering. The lighting is getting better. You tell me if I need to move or something. Or is it getting better or worse?
Let me see. When you come into the sun, you're hot. It looks like a music video. And when you go back there, I think, maybe do that.
Is this better?
That's much better. Yeah, it normalized.
All right, cool.
And then we can see your art too. Good.
The question, audio engineering, right?
Yeah.
I grew up not wanting to do anything other than draw and play basketball. So my mom wanted me to join things, be more productive in other routes. So I remember I had an interest in making beats. Making beats, producing, and I used to love that. I was like, okay, cool, making beats all the time. And then slowly but surely, if I got good grades, my mom would bless me with a microphone. And then, through there, okay, I got a microphone now, I can rap in my room and whatnot. And I had a homie who would help me out and whatnot, and he said he was going to audio engineering. I was like, oh, taking this, seriously. Mm-hmm. So from there, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to do that. And the school I was going to, I had been to many schools in Orlando, and my mom, how do I explain this? My mom put me in an alternative school because I wasn't acting correctly, maturely. So this alternative school actually helped out because it was only like 12 to 15 students in the entire school, and they focus solely on you and what you actually want to do. Yeah. And from there, I was like, well, I wouldn't mind, making music because I love doing that when I'm at home. And so they helped me attain, the skills necessary to complete the scholarship like the little form that they have you had to fill out, and I ended up getting $1,000 scholarship. It wasn't a full ride, but that helped me out, and I graduated. I was the youngest to go to the school. I was 17, graduated at 18. Everyone's like 30, 40 years old, and it just didn't make me money. That was the biggest thing. Is that there was no program, no job placement or anything like that. Right. And certain things like SoundCloud hadn't come out yet, or So I was just like, well, this is not gonna. I can play beats all day, but if I don't do something with it, then
And it's just right. It's kind of like a hobby, if you will.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
You know, when you talk about going to an alternative school, it made me think about this. Is something that I came to realize pretty recently is I don't really remember school. I don't remember doing homework. I don't know how I passed. But when I think about it, most times I was bored. And so it just didn't hold my attention, but I would do enough to get that diploma because I knew getting left back wasn't an option with my parents. But yeah, so it's almost like when I think about kids today and they try to, you know, deem them problematic, it's usually because you're not challenging them. And so when you're talking about now being in an environment with a smaller class, doing the thing that you're mostly interested in, now you're focused and then you graduate quicker than the majority of the people.
yeah, I mean the public school system over there. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't know no better at the time, but I just simply did not care about academics. Like I didn't care about education. I like to go to school. I'm an only child.
Oh, me too.
And,
You know that.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm an only child, and my mom raised me by herself. So, you know, when she's out working, that's how I started drawing so much. I kept myself entertained.
Yeah.
So when I'm going to school, it's like, oh, all these people. Okay. And the power of laughter is sort of what really drove me to go to school every single day. Just trying to make people laugh, acting a fool, you know, stuff like that.
That's what you look forward to.
Yeah. Technically, yeah. And then, you know, well, I could have done well, but I just did not care. Like, for example, I had a drawing class that I got a D in. And it was because I was mad that I could draw better than the teacher. I was like, man, why am I going to listen to this guy?
I'm like that now. I know I was like that as a kid. I recognize it now, but it's like, what are you going to teach me?
Yeah.
If I know more than you, not that I know more than everybody, but I know more than you.
Yeah. And so that kind of messed up my grade, and then Spanish as well. It was just the math. Every class, I think if teachers didn't give me a certain kind of respect, or I mean, or if I wouldn't give it to them, if that makes sense, because I had some amazing math teachers later on, or before, like during every now and then. But if something was wrong, like drama class, I'm doing theater now, in drama class, she kicked me out. I was like, what's wrong? Every day it was like, take the afro pick out your hair, pick up your pants, take the toothpick out your mouth. And every project I got into, it was like, no, I have a hard time memorizing. If you have me make up something, I can do it. She didn't tell me nothing about improv. She didn't say nothing. She was like, get out. You don't take the final test and you failed the class. So
this is great to talk about because, you know, I don't know who's going to be watching this. I say a prayer before I get on with anybody, and I'm like, just let me be a vessel and let whatever comes up, so that whoever watches this can get something and have some inspiration for their lives. And I'm hoping that, you know, some kids out there who are probably having these issues and thinking that it's them, and they can recognize that they are creators and artistics, and they need to be in a certain environment to thrive, and they're not the problem. So that's it's the main thing that I'm feeling like is coming up right here, because even currently, if I'm in a class now, and because I'm older, it's probably even worse. But if I feel like the teacher doesn't care, or they're just doing their bare minimum, I lose respect for them, and then I become unteachable. So so then I'm probably difficult, and then I can feel them trying to woo me back, and it's like, don't worry about me, just it's already gone. Just work on other people. But so now I'm very selective in the classes and the people that I choose to work with. But
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was watching, I don't know, something on Instagram, sure, but it was like a school that is focusing on putting art with education. So anything that has to do with art, they're incorporating it with science. They're incorporating it with math. They don't have desks for the students. They have these little bouncy chairs, so the kids can do something like this.
Yeah.
Sort of like pay attention.
Yeah.
Or, it was just an interesting concept that I thought this school was doing, because they were, I guess, lost a lot of funding. They weren't doing good, I guess, in the ratings, and they tried to switch it up, and now it's like one of the top schools in the United States.
I would have loved to have gone to a school like that. I know I would have learned a lot. I would have stayed focused. But here we are. We find our way. We always find our way. We stay persistent and diligent and true to ourselves.
Yeah.
So here we are in quarantine, with all of the energies operating and spinning at various frequencies and things like that. What are you doing, if you are doing anything to be creative? What have you been doing or not?
I took a break for sure. I took a break in between, I would say, around, I think, the month of May.
Yeah,
took a break and just but I'll tell you, before that, I was I had stopped tattooing March, I think 13th, right after Friday the 13th. There was so many tattoos that day, and then everything had started happening that I was like, cool, that's what I need to go. And then I had a show at the Ha Ha Comedy Club that week, which was interesting because now everything is closing down, and this place got left open. And so I'm over here doing stand-up with a glove. And so once that happened, everything got put on the back burner, and it was like focusing on the internet, focus on news. And then a writing packet came out, NBC Writers Workshop, something like that, for late night. Now it's like, okay, cool, I gotta write for this.
Yes.
I think something else came out. I was like, cool, I gotta do this. And then I started getting low on funds, and I was like, what am I gonna do? Because unemployment back in the day, it doesn't cover self-employed or contractors.
1099, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So then that was the issue. So I'm like, okay, let me post and try to find some ways to make money. And luckily, our community of Second City came and helped me out, because I posted, oh, I'm doing art, anything like that. I ended up getting like a storyboard to do. I got some art. I got for some friends. I started doing fun little drawings of people, just trying different things. I don't know if you saw the drawings I was doing. Not the charcoal one that I did with your picture.
Yeah.
The other one of I started doing like these, I don't know what to call it, like just line work of certain people's faces.
Okay.
And people just started sending me some change, and then just trying to stay focused in how to make money. And then around May came around, I reapplied for unemployment.
Yes.
Boom, then I got it. And luckily, and then I was able to chill, birthday month. I was like, okay, cool. Let me try to go to Big Bear, get my mind off things. Did not work, because Big Bear, I did not know what to expect. I was hoping it was just a lake, but then it turned into the Ozarks, and that was all creepy. That's another story. But I just started in between that time when I was just chilling. I'm still working. I have a problem with I work no matter what I watch. So I'm drawing, and I'm just going back into the fundamentals of drawing and trying. I have a problem with switching styles a lot. Like if you can see, you have a realistic or kind of like black and gray. I have a series of these comedians. Yeah. But then I'll get in a mode where it's like, I want to do something like this with more graffiti kind of looking style. And I have, you probably can't see, there's one all the way back there. It's alien. And it just looks, I have a problem with staying consistent into a style, which is considered a problem in society. It's not a problem.
Okay. Yeah.
It's I watch these videos, and it's like damn, it's hard to pronounce when you don't say it often. A liminal
person is one that dives into many different styles as an artist. And I have to compromise with the society by giving them certain pieces. Now I have a few of these, or I have a few of these that are all exactly the same, so that people can grasp that I can I have this style, and
Right.
that's me making a compromise with the world, saying yes, sure, I'll just do a bunch of these, so you can assume that. Sort of like when people get mad if a musician changes their style.
That's right. Yeah. Right.
But it's all about growth.
Yeah. Yeah.
My
Exactly.
bad, I got off on a tangent.
No,
So I started practicing fundamental styles. I just started going back into basics. I started trying different, like I bought a bunch of these pens. I started just like doing comic book stuff. I started focusing on perspectives. I started focusing on portraits. I just started just diving in because being a tattoo artist, I'm just, okay, cool. We got this, next thing coming up. Cool. Let's just do that. And I draw for the tattoo in that sense, for someone else's idea.
Right.
So I haven't had a time to really go back into the fundamentals. If with improv or acting, it's like, okay, every now and then it's cool to sharpen your the old tools to, all right, remember your who, what, where, and why in the first 30 seconds or whatnot.
Right.
And I was practicing on that until May came around, and all the protests started happening, and so then
it was heavy.
Yeah, absolutely. And then so that sparked a whole nother set of awareness. I was already reading. I was reading a book called, let me just give you the exact ones just in case anyone wants to know it. I'll give you the list of books I have been reading, because I've also been working on myself too in that time. And I still am, but I'm trying to be a better human and also a better male man. Just trying to not just learn more about myself. So I had been reading some stand-up books. I read an art book called Find Your Artistic Voice.
Okay.
I began reading Lenny Bruce. He has a biography. I started reading Free Puerto Rico, Pedro Avisos Campos. He's a Harvard graduate that was a part of trying to free Puerto Rico, and he had war against the United States, and it's a whole scandal that people really don't even know about.
Sure. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then I started reading The Truth About Men. That is by Devon Franklin. I don't know, you know who he is? Yeah. That's a good book. I started going on that. I still have a little bit left because I read things in chapters. I try not to consume too much, because then I won't retain.
I'm the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll take a little bit by little, and then I'll try to apply.
Right.
From there. Reading. Then more submission things come out, like Nickelodeon comes, like looking for artists, or someone looking for storyboard. Netflix looking for artists. Then these other late night packets come out, submitting to those. I'm just trying to do everything.
Are you actively seeking those out? Do they just come to you? Do people think of you and say, "Hey, check this out"?
I would say both, all of the above.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely all of the above, because every now and then I'll get tagged in something, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll apply to that.
Right.
But then I'm searching other things out. Like, I've always wanted to be a part of the Nickelodeon artist program.
Okay. Why Nickelodeon?
I grew up on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon's close by. I grew up on Nickelodeon for sure. Someone from Nickelodeon will be watching this, and I'm gonna mess up the whole thing. He doesn't even know why he likes Nickelodeon.
That's Nickelodeon is enough, because there's a homage there, and there's a familiarity, and then nostalgia.
Yeah, I think putting a different perspective, like they came out with that one show, Casa Grande. that I think they won an award. It was like their Latinx show.
Hmm.
So, you know, things like that. It's just like, okay, cool. I would love to do, you know, something like that. I would love to put one of my plays and create a comic book,
Yeah.
you know. So I'm just trying to do anything and everything at this point.
Yeah.
And luckily, that's been my greatest trait, to be able to take time. If you give me time, that's gonna mess up, you know, the opponent or the whatever.
That's the part, yeah. Because now we're not distracted. We're trying to make a living, with two, just the day-to-day life of working or training or whatever the case may be, or for people who have kids, although the people who are home with their kids probably have no time.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like, man, if I had a kid, I wouldn't be able to focus on something like that. If I, you know, had a job, which I had been, like, it takes so much time out of this, you know, the day-to-day things where I could focus on.
Right.
That's exactly why I left college back in 2017, where it's like I was performing, I was acting, I was writing, I was doing commercials. I was not getting them, but I was auditioning. But and so I had, you know, eventually you have to, with so many other things amongst getting, you know, your day-to-day job, it takes a lot out. I think that's a big chunk. And luckily, by not having it, this pandemic has been a blessing in disguise.
Yes.
To be able to work on the things that I need to. And yeah, just like I've been watching a lot of those master classes.
Yeah.
Those.
Yeah.
Those are essential.
Superb.
Yeah. Well, some of them are like, nah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
You watch them?
I do. I was having this conversation with Serenity. I don't know what I just did here. I was having a conversation with Serenity, and yeah, I think that we watched 3, and 2 of them we had in common. But yeah, there's a couple where I'm just like,
Which one did you watch?
I watched Spike Lee, Samuel L. Jackson, Steve Martin. I started to watch Helen Mirren, and I forget her name. Oh my goodness, the other actress who she played Black Swan, and she was in this.
Oh, okay, yeah, she got one. Yeah.
Yeah, but my next one is The Negotiator, or The Negotiation. But I need to really be focused for that, because that's going to have a lot of information.
Let me know how that one goes, because I thought about it, but since me and Serenity are like sharing it, I was like, okay, you pick 3 classes, I picked 3 classes. John Ryan gave it to me for my birthday.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, you get 3, you know. Awesome. So we got the Samuel Jackson. We haven't watched that one yet. Yeah. Spike Lee, we're like in the process of right now. Mm-hmm. We have Ron Howard after that.
Yes. Right.
Judd Apatow we saw.
Okay.
Straight.
That's on the list, yeah.
Judd Apatow straight, yeah. Steve Martin.
Yeah.
Good. I like that one a lot more details.
Yes.
Shonda Rhimes.
Who?
Shonda Rhimes.
That's what she was telling me, so that's now on my list as well.
That one right there, just in detail, and like she has about almost, I think, over 30 chapters, as you know, a couple other people only have 15, 17. Right. She's in detail with everything. If you follow her process for television, there shouldn't be no reason why you ain't got no TV show soon.
And she created her own blueprint. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's great. That one, I hands down, is my favorite for sure. And I don't even have a television script. I was just watching it because she wanted to write one, and I was like, okay, cool. You know, I need to know these steps regardless.
Yeah. I love. There's a couple things that came up. So first of all, talking about how, you know, at the point where unemployment was not funding. What do I keep doing here? Where unemployment was not funding gig workers, what they call 1099 workers. And thank goodness that they did, because it helps so many people. And that's mostly people who are creative in some form, whether you're a makeup artist, painter, runs the gamut. And so then to have that gave you the space to breathe and live and then create even more. And here we are recognizing that the whole pandemic is being supported by creatives in some form of way. So then the importance of funding us really does fund the world. maybe they'll realize that someday. I don't know, but
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would have never thought there'd be a time when I was younger that, you know, how they say the struggling artist, you know, luckily I have, you know, tattoos that have funded most of the bills, but to be able to say is just like, yeah, I can technically say on paper that I'm living the dream.
same. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like all I do is just do art and perform and be creative all day without having to have like an actual 9 to 5.
Right. And even with that living the dream, I think no matter how however somebody describes as the dream or the success of it, there's still roadblocks and stumbles, probably even more so than somebody who works 9 to 5 and can rely on a weekly check. But we are the fulfillment to be able to sleep well, to get up and do what our hearts desire.
Yeah.
Most times is the reward, but then we still got to live. But going back to the painting and going back to the fundamentals, are you self-taught?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did. My mom, my mom always trying to push me into doing something productive.
Yeah.
She was like, why don't you join the chess club? I was like, I want to play chess. So my mom, I remember at the library, she was like, there's a drawing class. You're going to take it. I'm going to drop you off. My mom was always like working 1 to 2 jobs.
Yeah.
So it is whatever, if my grandparents weren't in town, it's like, how do I get him to do something? So so I remember I took a realistic drawing class, and one of the tips helped. It was looking at the picture and then your hand really fast in between. That was really cool. But most of it self-taught. Yeah, I would say.
Yeah. I was just watching Tom and Jerry. Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry are my favorite cartoons. And because it was on DVD, we subscribed to Netflix DVD to get the stuff that's just not streaming.
Right.
And we watched the bonus features with Chuck Jones, and he talked about the first thing that he learned was drawing the body form. And from there, learning the body form opens up the scope to being able to draw a multitude of things.
Yeah. I went to his gallery. I think it's in San Diego.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I have to go.
It was beautiful. Oh, well, as far as I know, it was because it was like all Looney Tunes stuff, but it was like some of the original drawings, some of I guess like additional stuff added to the pictures and drawings. Like it was in celebration of him. It was dope. I loved it.
I wonder why San Diego, maybe because they commissioned it, but we learned that he grew up on Sunset Boulevard.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I've been to his and I've been to Dr. Seuss's. Dr. Seuss has one out here, and I think the one I went to was in Australia, but that's a whole nother.
Where'd you go in Australia?
Melbourne.
Oh, okay. That's my next trip.
That's beautiful. It's very if you like city, that right there is great. Everybody is extremely nice. There's graffiti everywhere, like well done.
Really?
Yeah. There. Have you been to Toronto?
I've not been to Toronto. Nope.
I'm trying to think of it. I haven't been to too many cities. Like I haven't been to Boston.
Yeah.
I would say it's like take a portion of New York, just a portion, and just put it there because it's their capital, and it's a lot more. I would say urban in that part of Australia.
Oh, okay. I've been to Sydney, and I like Australia a lot because you can speak English, so that's easy. But also, it just felt very metropolitan, and just different. Just okay.
Yeah, I haven't been to Sydney. How was that?
I liked it a lot. We went on a cruise, me and my best friend. So we did the Pacific Ocean. So it was like Fiji and what was it? New Caledonia, I believe, which I'd never heard of before. And then the cruise was 12 days, but then I wanted to stay in Sydney. And so we did that for 2 days and saw Hamlet at the Opera House and was able to get around by train. We went to a kangaroo sanctuary because we didn't want to go to a zoo since they don't treat the animals well. But I just found it very easy to get around, and I liked it. It felt like, because I'm a city girl, so it felt like a city.
then you'll definitely like. It's hard because now I'm used to saying it like they do. Melbourne.
Melbourne.
It's you'll definitely like it then. That place. I mean, it was extremely. I loved it.
Yeah. So let's see. Oh wow, that time goes really quick when you're having a good time. So here we are. We're at the end of our call, and you talked about a lot of things you've been working on. Is there a specific project that you want to tell us about, whether past or present, that you want to share, so we keep an eye out on or anything?
Man, I wish I would have had something like that planned. Because I'm like, I'm like, okay, in September, I'm going to have this project done. And the pandemic goes,
That's
even
right.
further. So it's like, I don't even know at this point.
Exactly.
Hopefully I get into one of these programs or
Yeah. Right.
job picks me up or something.
Right. Do you have Hispanic Attack or Fresco Bar on like YouTube or anything?
I have Fresco Bar on a private link.
Okay.
Hispanic Attack, I don't know if they've put anything out. I have the video, but I don't know if because everyone has it, and I think a few
Who's
of them have.
they?
The cast members that were on it. I was just a co-writer and assistant director.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
So I don't know if they have it out. I know they have a DVD that they got from, I think they performed at the Comedy Central stage.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They'll do that for you. Yeah.
But I'm very reserved on that portion of it because I am so critical on myself that, and especially, it's just, it's the artiste in me. So if someone requests it, I'll send it to them, but then it's just like, nah. I have a show that I did called My Way that is also on a private link that I did last year.
Okay. I don't know about that one.
Yeah, it was a story of a son and a mother, and the mother, how do I put this? She goes through empty nest syndrome. If you know empty nest, where they feel lonely. So my mother actually went through this, and this is sort of like a apology letter or a love letter, sort of through comedy or through a play, where it's a journey of the main character. He has comic books, he loves drawing, and she hits her head and she goes in through his comic books and the journey through how to cope with ENS and rekindle her love for art.
And that's on a private link. That's
on a private link, or until somebody sends me, the check. But I can send it to you for sure.
Yeah, sure. But I'm thinking like maybe there's like a teaser or a trailer or something to just like be living somewhere, because you just never know. Like as you're sending these packets out and then they go and they Google you and then these little stories pop up. Doesn't have to be the whole thing, but like a little teaser or trailer or something.
Trailer. I mean, I'm gonna keep that in mind. I'm definitely gonna keep that in mind. I just get like that, and I don't want someone snagging my ideas.
No, I get you. That's why a little teaser, and especially if it's on YouTube, because then we see the date. So if somebody tried to snag it, it's kind of like, I don't know if you are familiar with Ramani Malco. He just did Tiwana Jackson on Apple Plus TV.
I just saw the trailer yesterday. I was saying how you recommended it.
That, especially for a comedy person, you will have a deep appreciation for it, because he fills the entire film with nothing but bits. But I think you have to have a comedic eye to pick up on everything that's happening. But he's been playing that character for 12 years on YouTube.
I've seen him. He always with the fake teeth and whatnot.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I didn't know that. I heard, so I follow him on Instagram, and I've seen him do the character. I've seen him, but I didn't know he was. I was like, oh, something must not be happening, because he stopped doing it for a while.
Right.
And it was like, oh no, he drops this movie, and I'm like, oh snap.
Yeah.
And then what was it that you put that he directed it himself?
Wrote it, directed it, edited, acted, produced. Is there anything missing? I feel like there's one thing missing, but there's an interview with him on The Breakfast Club, and he talks about the entire process and how he said no to a distribution deal with a major studio because of the way they wanted to own it. And this is his first film, and so he's learning how to do it. But he wants to create a new blueprint, especially for people of color, because they don't understand our stories and don't push them forward with the same fervor as these other stories. So because he did it this way, and then the pandemic hit, which actually worked in his favor because it was going to be a major release, but he would have lost a lot of money. So now that he kept it to himself and knew that he was going to do the streaming platform way, it worked out for him. And so now he gets to have all this ownership, and then he created a new blueprint for people like us.
I'm definitely going to check that out because I'm a big fan of that process.
Right.
Of doing it all yourself, even though it's technically not possible to do it only yourself.
Right.
But those major components of directing and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I say that story because since he's been playing this role for 12 years, anybody who has gone through the system and coming out or whatever, and will look at this movie and try to say, that's my story, he's got proof because it's been on YouTube for how many years. So if you put like a little sprinkle of your fresco bar, and was it My Way?
My Way, yeah.
Just a little teaser.
I when I was promoting it, I put like there are certain puppets that I use in the show.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But then recently I just deleted it all. I was like, man, just keep it into a package, just hoping for that one deal that's like, what you got? And I'm just flood you with everything. That's my mentality.
It is, and that's great, but we're in a new day where people are constantly finding people just through YouTube. So just a little bit. I mean, you know,
you're right. You're right. I have the whole thing filmed. The whole thing's filmed, ready to go. Yeah.
So. And you could even you could take the Louis C.K. way and put it on your website and sell tickets.
That's true.
Especially now in pandemic, people are used to sitting home and watching. I buy a ticket.
Let me write this down. Right. Let me write this down.
Yeah, that's right.
I definitely don't have, with not knowing for the certain future, I'm just trying to get a specific job where I don't have to be forced to do the thing I love as tattooing and forced to do the tattoos that I don't want to do. So I would love to do, whether if it's a late night job, cool. I would love to, move.
Yeah.
Have a reason to.
Yeah.
Or I would love to just not go back to the normal and continue progressing from there.
Yep.
So whether if it's animation or whatever it takes me.
Right.
I think that's how I've been playing my whole life, which is, I guess, the moral of my whole life. I just been sort of like letting the universe give me the signals of, yes, go here. Yes, go there. And just, I mean, that's why it's, my Instagram is Trovador 360. How it's like I went one way thinking I was going to go something, and then I've been able to go a complete 180 and then bring all the talents back. So like with the show My Way, I was able to produce it, direct it, write it. Then my lead actor drops out, and then I have to act in it. And then
it's your story. You should be acting in it.
Yeah, well, technically, but I had imagined John Ryan as the actual character. But it worked out in his favor,
Yeah.
So, I don't have any project, but I'm willing to have anything at this point. Stand up is the only thing I've been like consistently like working on. If that makes you want to look out for that. Stand up. I just took a drop in yesterday at the Tao Comedy Studio.
Okay.
They're having classes there. I just been focusing on that just in case that everything does go back to normal. I have like at least, I'm trying to get like a 30-minute set so then I can direct, write, and film it and then keep bundling up my packages.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just, you said you're just waiting for the universe to drop little bits on you. So like I said, I say these prayers before I get on here, and the universe told me to tell you to show a little teaser of these things. So that's what I'm going to say.
Is there anything you're working on these days?
Yeah,
You've been talking so much about me.
that's it. Yeah, this came through in a meditation, and that was last week Thursday, and then here we are. I think you are now I think maybe you're the 8th or 9th person I talked to so far. And I have some more next week. And although I said I was going to do it through September, I think, I sent it to 50 people, but I'm like, 20 is good because this is hard work. I didn't realize it.
The editing of the audio, the picture.
The lights, the setting up. I'm sitting here sweating. I got to get my little...
You can take a break if you need to.
A little water here. Gotta I think on Tuesday I had 3 back-to-back, and I was like, oh, I should probably schedule in a buffer to relax or take a day off. Maybe I should.
Absolutely.
The stuff that you learn as you start doing these things. But there's that. And then me and a few Bob Curry people, what started as a don't rush challenge, I sent it to everybody, and I was like, hey guys, I want to do a don't rush challenge with toilet paper. And a lot of people, it wasn't just them, I sent it to some other people, and they was like, oh, it seems tone deaf. And I'm like, it's toilet paper. Like, it's ridiculous that people are rushing out to get toilet paper. That's the whole purpose of it, be doing it. But anyway, so a few people said yes. And then as we met in a Zoom, I think it was Bobby said, guys, I've been watching Zoom improv and it's just horrible. And so we walked away from that, and I was like, that's it. And I came back and I was like, this is a web series. And so that's how we have Saved by the Improv.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious. I've been watching them.
Good.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that I've been teaching improv to kids through Zoom, and it's difficult, but if you just have to have the strategic games to really make it effective.
Okay.
Because if not, then it's just like it gets boring quick.
Yeah, I think teaching it is different, but to try to do a show and then people's Wi-Fi, they're stalling, and I think that's really what he meant, was trying to watch a show.
Yeah, Mayor has been doing a great. It's not improv, but his shows have been clean. I was like, man, I don't know how you're doing it, but
I haven't had the time because it's always on a night where I'm not available in the quarantine. I'm still not available.
Yeah, his show's been clean for the most part from the show that I saw, and I was like, yo, effective. I've seen other shows, like Really Awesome Improv Show has a decent show. But it's hard. It's hard to make a decent show.
I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure. Use these perspectives, like going up close, going to the side,
right,
back here, props.
Right.
You have to really try.
Yes. That sounds like hard work. I'm okay. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. And just watching good TV, like really good TV. Yeah. Good TV and good films.
Good TV and good. You saw what was the name again, so that me and all the viewers know? It was Tiwana Man.
Oh, Tiwana Jackson. Tijuana.
Joanna Man is what I was thinking.
Oh.
Jackson, guys.
Yeah, like Tijuana, Mexico, but he says Tijuana. And then,
That's funny. What other shows have been?
There's one called Fits and Starts with Wyatt Cenac, which it's about him being a writer and being married to an established writer. And then they had this artist salon, which I think they did it really well. Any artist that I know has participated in an artist salon, whether they were the artist or they were just the audience member, and they nailed it. It's just ridiculous.
Fits and what?
It's on Amazon. Fits and Starts. And then there's The Gatherer Hunter with Andre Royo, and a new guy I've never seen before. It's like an independent film with Black people that you normally don't see Black people in, but the story is really well written, like a Bugs Bunny, really well written. And I just love Andre. He's been around for a long time, a very long time, before The Wire. So that's happy.
There was a movie that messed me up that I can't stop thinking about every time, but I couldn't finish it. It was it's on HBO. It is I purposely did not want to remember it because it's so traumatizing to me.
Who's in it?
You seen the Wu-Tang show?
Yeah.
The guy who plays RZA. I think it's he has green hair on this picture on HBO.
Oh, Native Son.
You seen that?
Yeah.
You saw the whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh, once the oven and all that other stuff and him trying to hide, I was like, I can't watch this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was. I mean, kudos to making me feel some way where I can't literally watch it.
Right.
Because I was just freaking out. I was like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
I think Shameless did that to me too. Shameless, the fifth season.
Okay.
It's great until about that fifth season for me personally. Once like I don't like drama or negativity in my life, and once the show starts feeling like it's putting it on me, I'm out.
I'm the opposite. I like to watch a show with no redeeming factor because that's what life is.
Yeah. I'm just like, no, I take out the negative people in my life. I'm like, meh. So when the show happens too, and I start feeling the depression or the whatever,
the weight of it, I understand. That's how I feel about. There's one with Mark Ruffalo right now. What's it called? I don't know. It's a TV series, and he's playing it's him and his twin brother.
I saw the picture.
Yeah, that one was a lot, and I had to walk away from it for a little bit because, it's just really heavy. I'll probably come back to it, but that's do it in doses.
Yeah, okay, Mark Ruffalo. I saw, I was interested, but I've been on like documentaries. I've been just trying to watch productive things. Well, I mean, unproductive things like Umbrella Academy, but then,
Yeah. Thank you. Do I have everything? I'm looking at my cheat sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
no pressure. I'm not in no rush.
I got everything. That was a good talk. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for saying yes.
Thanks for watching Creatives in Quarantine. Yo, do yourself a favor. Go to Chris's website and look at all his art. You won't be disappointed. If you learned anything new or were inspired, please subscribe. I'm trying to get my numbers up. Until next time, bye.